Good morning, children. Katie Watts here. Dear children, today I'm going to begin with part 2 of chapter 3, the black aeroplane. Dear students, before beginning this text, this chapter, let us discuss something about aeroplanes. Definitely many of you might have seen that, flying in the sky. Many of you might have occupied a seat in a plane, might have covered some distance in that. No doubt, it has been a wonderful medium of transportation. People can travel easily. But here the title suggests about the black aeroplane. How many of you might have seen a black aeroplane? Scarcely any. I don't think so. Any one of you might have seen that. But, dear children, after reading this entire text, you'll come to know that why this aeroplane has been called as black. Was it black in color? What was the reason that it was black? It has been mentioned as black over here. Was it a mystery? How this mystery is going to be solved? So this chapter raises many queries, many questions, which you will understand later on after going through this entire text, dear children. Let me begin the chapter. The moon was coming up in the east behind me. The author says the moon was shining. It was up in the east there behind him. Behind the individual, the author, the narrator, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. And it was a twinkling sky. The stars were twinkling in the sky. It was absolutely clear. There was not a cloud in the sky. It was absolutely clear. A wonderful night. I was happy to be alone high up alone the sleeping countryside. And the narrator says that I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. He was quite happy. He was excited to be alone. Absolutely alone, high up above the sleeping countryside. Dear children, do you know what is countryside? Countryside is a place which is away from the city, the outskirts of the city, you can say, the rural area. It was absolutely sleeping because it was night time. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. And he tells you the story that he was flying his old Dakota aeroplane, flying over France, and he was going back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. And the narrator here is quite eager. He is dreaming of his holiday. He is looking forward to being with his family. He wanted to join his family very soon. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. I checked my watch. The time was 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris Control soon, I thought. All of a sudden, an idea came to me that I should contact the Paris Control. Dear children, all of you might be aware that all these aeroplanes, they are being controlled by the control rooms. Certain individuals are sitting over there. They are monitoring their movement. They are monitoring the entire instructions which are passed to the pilots who are flying the planes. So he thought to contact the Paris control room. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, nose means the front part of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I noticed the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris Control, Dakota DS-088. Here, can you hear me? I'm on my way to England, over. And he flashed a message on the radio, telling the Paris Control that I'm calling from Dakota DS-088. And if they're able to listen to me, they can hear me. I'm on my way to England. I informed them that I'm on the way to England and over and out. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. All of a sudden, I received a reply. I received an answer. And the answer said, DA08, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now, DA08 to over. And then suddenly I got a message, a reaction to my request. And as a result, I was informed that I need to take a turn to 12 degrees west now, over and out. I checked the map and the compass. Dear children, one task can be done to entirely understand. We have to check, sorry, I beg your pardon. You have to check the cockpit of a plane, all the instruments which are being there. What are the things which are mandatory to be there? So you can see them on Google. I checked the map here, the narrator tells you. He is checking the map and the compass. Switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and my last fuel tank was there, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I turned towards England. I was just thinking while flying the plane, I will be in time for breakfast. And the narrator is telling you that he was hoping that by the time of breakfast, he would be there. He would be there with his family, and today he would enjoy the breakfast with them, I thought. And what kind of breakfast it would be? A good English breakfast. A good big English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. I was very happy. No problems at all. It was a wonderful flight, an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. And I had covered around 150 kilometers of distance from France. And France was behind me, Paris was behind me, when I noticed some clouds in the sky. And they're not clouds, they're stormy clouds, dear friends. Stormy clouds. They were huge, they were gigantic, they looked like black mountains. Looking like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. And suddenly they came in front of me. I knew I could not fly up and over them. I was pretty sure that I could not fly above and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to north or south. And even I thought I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or to the south. So I did not have options. I was running out of them. I had one option only, that to go inside the clouds, to pierce them through. But how can I do that? I ought to go back to Paris, I thought. The first thought came to my mind. I thought I must go back to Paris because the weather was not good, but I wanted to get home. But all of a sudden, one more thought came to my mind. It was forcing me, it was emphasizing me that I should go to my home in England. I should have a breakfast with my family. I wanted that breakfast. So that breakfast was promoting me to enter inside those stormy clouds. I did understand that it was quite dangerous. But I decided to take the risk. I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight in the storm, and I entered into the storm with my old plane. Inside the clouds, dear students, everything was suddenly black. And as I entered inside the clouds, the stormy clouds, they're huge. Absolutely everything was black over there. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. Nothing was visible, dear students, nothing. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. And the old aeroplane, it was jumping, it was twisting in the air because there were stormy clouds. Definitely strong winds might be blowing over there. I looked at the compass. I just looked at the compass. I could not believe my eyes. And when I looked at the compass, I could not believe. And all of you might be well aware of this fact, that in all the planes there is a compass to tell you the directions. He couldn't believe his eyes when he looked at his compass. What happened to the compass? The compass was turning round and round and round. The compass had stopped functioning. It had become inoperative. It was just taking turns round and round and round. It was not telling me directions. I did not have any idea where I was. I was in the clouds, the dark clouds. I didn't have any idea where to go, what to do. It was dead, dear students. It was dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too, and the rest of the instruments of my plane, they also stopped functioning. It was a Herculean task for me, a very difficult task for me to come out of the storms, the stormy cloud. I tried the radio. I tried to contact the Paris control. The Paris control, because that was the only option left to me. Paris control, can you hear me? I tried to contact them. There was no answer even. The radio was dead too, oh my goodness. The radio was dead too. The compass was not working. The radio was not working. And I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I did not have any idea where I was. I was completely lost in the storm, he said. The narrator said that he was completely lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another airplane. Then suddenly what I noticed another aeroplane near me. It was quite strange. There were stormy clouds. The weather was not good. I had taken the risk to go inside the clouds. But who else was there? Who was there in the other plane? It had no lights on its wings. And I noticed that the other plane did not have any lights on its wings. But I could see it flying next to me through the storm. But I noticed that it was flying next to me through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turn towards me. I noticed the pilot's face. He turned towards me. I was very glad to see another person. And I was very happy. I was very glad. I thought I was not the only foolish man who is in the sky, in these stormy clouds. Someone else is there with me. I was very happy. He lifted one hand and waved. He lifted his hand, and with his hand he waved. He made a gesture to me, and what he said? Follow me. He was saying, follow me. He knows that I am lost. That other pilot was well aware of this fact that I have lost the way. He was trying to help me, and I did not have even other options. So he turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. And he brought his plane in front of me, ahead of me, so that it would be easier for me to chase him, to follow him. I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. And they were the happy moments, dear students. To go behind the strange aeroplane. And I was just following the aeroplane like an obedient child. Or just like an obedient child. An obedient pilot. Trying to rescue myself. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me. After half an hour, I noticed the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Now, what happened? Let us see. There was only enough fuel in the old Dakota last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I realized that I did not have left with enough fuel. My fuel was going to last with only 5 to 10 minutes more. And I had no idea where I was, where this other plane was taking me. I was starting to feel frightened again. I started sweating. The nervousness was there. The feeling of fear was there. I was feeling apprehensive. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Then the plane ahead of me started going down. And I followed through the storm like an obedient child. Suddenly, I came out of the clouds. And all of a sudden, I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of lights. And I noticed 2 straight lines of lights in front of me. I noticed a runway, 2 straight lines of light in front of me. It was a runway. I was very happy. An airport, my goodness. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane. The sky was empty. I just turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane. Where was he? The sky was empty. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane's gone, and the black aeroplane could not be seen. It was gone. I could not see it anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. And I landed safely. I was very happy. And was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. And I directly went to the control tower. I went and asked the women in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. And I inquired, the lady was sitting over there in the control tower, in the control center. And I inquired where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you because that was the fellow who saved me. I have to say thank you to him. She looked at me very strangely and she was looking at me strangely and then laughed and she laughed. I felt very bad. Someone was laughing at me as if I have asked a silly question. She was looking at me strangely too. Another airplane up there in the storm. No other airplanes were flying tonight, and the lady informed me, "What the hell are you talking, pilot? Another airplane up there in the stormy sky?" My dear friend, no other planes were there flying tonight. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. And she informed that yours was the only plane which I could see on the radar. So who helped me to arrive there safely? So who helped me? I was just thinking about. I was just thinking that who was there in the black aeroplane? Definitely someone was there who guided me. He showed me the path whom I followed. But where was he? According to the control center information, there was no other aeroplane in the sky. Then who was the fellow who was flying that other plane? So who helped me to arrive there safely? I was just thinking about. Who helped me without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks? Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying the storm without lights? And who was the pilot in the strange black aeroplane? Dear children, the author has left this chapter over here only. And he has left you with a task to think about who the other pilot would be, where the other plane had gone. Was it the simple imagination of this old Dakota pilot? Was it the Almighty who had come to rescue him? Was it some supernatural power which came to rescue him? What was there? It's a mystery to be solved out. So at the end of this chapter, dear students, I am just giving you a task to think about it, and you have to complete the story in about 100 to 150 words, sharing your experiences. That yes, later on you realize that what had happened. Who was the other pilot? Where was the other plane? Who rescued me? Whom I followed like an obedient child? And let us see what kind of conclusions you are able to draw out. And if you are able to reach a very strong conclusion, you can share your views on my comment section. Or you can write down a story, and when we'll discuss in the class, we can come up with that what might have happened. Who might have been the individual? So dear children, that's how I have covered the chapter 3 of First Flight. I hope all of you will understand that. Listen to it carefully. If you don't have the text, then I have given you this copy of text to you. Hopefully you will understand that, you will enjoy that. Very soon I will be sharing the next video with you. Till then, take care. Goodbye.